You've been seeking answers from every dermatologist, doctor, and all over the internet, wondering what on earth this unbearable skin issue is. You know something's up, and you've been suffering and silenced for far too long. This podcast is going to bring awareness to the brutal reality that is topical steroid addiction and withdrawal syndrome. It will give you practical mental and physical tips to help you along your journey and provide you the strength you need to push through each day. You'll hear from real people battling this illness, as well as experts in the field, and I'm also going to share with you what's happening as I battle and conquer TSW. You are not alone, you're not crazy, and you will heal. If there's one thing I know, it's that anyone going through this hell is a warrior. My name is Jennifer Powers, and I welcome you to TSW Journey to Healing. Did you know that there is a journal out there just for those of us that have topical steroid withdrawal? And whether or not you're a journaler, this is the best way for you to track what's working, what's not, and enjoy your healing journey. So inside this journal, you get 3 calendars to track your next 90 days of healing. There's free resources, actually even a free gift for every single one who purchases this journal. Plus you get action steps to try, a joy list, gratitude prompts, so many visualization techniques, affirmations, a web of support, mini mental health exams to help you check in with yourself, stress management and grounding exercises, and so much more. This journal has been tremendously helpful in my own healing journey, and now it's available for every single one of us. How cool. I want to invite you to get your hands on it, and you can do so by going to tswjourneytohealing.com/journal. Get yours today and let us know how it's going for you. Okay, now let's get back into the episode. Hey friends, it's been a minute. How are you doing? How's your healing journey going? I did something that I never did before, first time, and I want to share it with you because it may help you. Maybe something that you want to look into for your mindset, for your healing, for this crazy wild journey we're all on. But this happened, already it's probably been a little 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer. And I've been meaning to share this with you, and I just have been so busy, as we all are. But this is too important. So have you ever been hypnotized? Okay, because I had not been, and what I pictured hypnosis or being hypnotized was like what you see in the movies or, a TV show or something where you see a person standing in front of another person or sitting in front of another person, and the hypnotist snaps his fingers and the person in front just zonks out. They just pass out. They're just totally like asleep, right? And the hypnotist is like speaking while this person seems to be completely unconscious, and they snap their fingers again and the person comes to, right? Stuff like that. And I know through my network, through friends of friends, that people have tried hypnosis for all different kinds of things. Somebody that I know tried it to quit smoking. Somebody else tried it for, I forget, all these different reasons. And it's not, and I'm a very open-minded person. So I am not somebody that is closed off to trying anything new, even if it's unconventional, even if it's something that I'm skeptical about. I'm just always curious. I'm a very curious person. And when it comes to healing, holistic health, just like all that crazy world of sorcery, right? Not really, obviously. Christian girl over here, don't believe in that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just all this, there's so many different modalities, techniques, tools, treatments that are out there that if you don't expose yourself to, you never know what could be your thing, right? So I have a client, I have a marketing agency business, and one of my clients happens to be an incredible hypnotist, probably one of the best in the country. He's so good. And I was, building his marketing sales funnels and his email campaigns and automations and things like that. And we just got to talking more and more. And I filled him in a little bit about, TSW. And he said, Jen, like, have you ever gotten a session, a hypnotic session? And of course I said no. He said, well, we should do one. So I said, yeah, sure, why not, right? And Oh my gosh. Like, I cannot begin to explain how profound and radical, like that's the word. I'm such a 90s kid, like rad, totally. But like, that's what it was. It was so different than what I had ever thought. And I told him that. I said, I don't know what to expect here. And he said, most people don't, but come with an open mind. And he explained to me that, and by the way, this is a big thing to point out, we did this over Zoom. Okay, we did this virtually. I did not think that, I was even more skeptical, hate to say that, but, just really curious how the heck could this work while we're doing it across the two computer screens, But he told me that lots and lots of his clients are not in his neck of the woods. They're not right around the corner from him. And so he's learned how to do this practice virtually for people. And it's just as powerful and effective. So I was like, cool, let's do it. So he explained before we got started that it was going to be not a dialogue, but it was going to be, he was going to be conversing with me on and off throughout our session, which I believe the session was probably about 45 minutes total. He said in the beginning, I'm going to talk to you. And then when we're ready to get started, I'm going to explain to you to get yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and just listen to my voice. And that's what I did. And at one point, he said to me, I want you to feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper. And the tonality of his voice, there's nothing else I can say other than it actually put me into a trance. And it was the most wild experience because he told me that this is what was going to happen. And it 1,000,000% happened, where I was both in the subconscious mind and the subconscious world and the conscious world. So I was both in the present moment and also in my subconscious. It was, and I don't even know if there's another way to explain it unless you have experienced it with a really good hypnotherapist, because I'm pretty sure, just like with anything out there, with coaches, with healers, with this thing, that thing, the other thing, with all the things, there's people that are really good at their craft and people that are just so or not so good. He is phenomenal. So I go into this state, this trance, where I feel like such relaxation, but I was also fully present and I was hearing what he was saying. And, I'm trying to remember everything here. And I did tell him, he asked if there's an intention for the session. And of course, mine was healing. I wanted to heal past trauma, which I know causes me anguish and stress, which of course affects my topical steroid withdrawal. So I'm, wanting that to be my main focus here. So believe it or not, he did take me back to childhood. And I'll tell you a couple things that I really remember vividly and how powerful they were for me. So at one point, I vividly saw myself at 6 or 7 years old. I had this really beautiful backyard at my parents' house, my childhood home, with this gigantic tree. I don't know what kind of tree it was, but it was a beautiful tree. And my dad had built a tire swing on this tree. And me and some of the neighborhood kids and my little brother, we would, it was great little childhood pastime, go on this tire swing. Well, I saw myself by myself on the tire swing, and it was swinging. And me now, in present day, walking up to my 6 or 7 year old self. And he had me pick my child self up and look myself in the eyes. And he had me saying a couple things to this little girl, to myself as a little girl. And as soon as I was saying these things he told me to say to myself, in the present moment, like sitting in this chair with my eyes closed in front of the computer screen, I was feeling weird sensations in certain body parts. So I just remember my right ankle, I think it was like tingling. Then my left shoulder would like twinge or something. And I was feeling like I felt like I was crying, and it was happy tears. It wasn't sad, but I was hugging my little girl self, and I was telling her, you're going to be absolutely okay. And you are so amazing and so loved and so worthy, and all these like beautiful affirmations. And as I'm saying this to my younger self and she's looking back at me smiling, I just couldn't help but feel this sense of protection over her. And I felt really like, I felt so loved. I felt like she was looking at me, loving every little bit of me, and I was looking at her like, oh my gosh, who couldn't love this beautiful little girl, this sweet little girl? Like, it was just this mutual connection of this overwhelming sense of love and acceptance, which was really powerful. He then had me come to, so I'm back in the conscious world, and I was explaining to him what I had seen and how that felt and everything. And then he did his thing in his voice, and I go back and my eyes are closed and I'm in this different, like this trance in between subconscious and conscious world. And the next thing I remember him talking to me about is picturing this book. And for some reason, this navy blue book that didn't have a cover, there was no words on it, but it was one of those like really, really old kind of books where it's almost like a fabric. The texture of the book is like a fabric. You know what I'm talking about? It's like your great-grandparents or your grandparents might have had like books on their bookshelf like this. So he had me picture the book. I can't remember why, but I do remember holding the book. And then he had me picture a beautiful place, and he didn't have me describe it when I was in this like state that I was in, but he had me vividly imagine it and think. He was saying things like, what does it smell like? What does it look like? What's the temperature in the air? Like where, inside or outside, like asking me all these kind of questions. And the thing that popped into in my vision and what I saw this kind of like stone castle looking in the distance. And it was high up on this hill, but I was standing in this like green meadow. There was green grass for miles and miles, and it was the greenest grass like that I had ever seen. It was like such an amazing color green that I was like kind of in awe at like how beautiful the color was. And so it was a perfect day, not a cloud in the sky, bright blue skies, a little bit of a breeze because I saw the blades of grass moving. And I can't remember what prompt or what he had asked me. But the next thing I know, I see myself smiling, and I stretch my arms out, so I'm making a giant shape of the letter T, and I just start spinning in circles with my arms out. And as I'm doing this, do you know, when I was a little girl, I used to call them wishies, but the weed that looks like a flower called a dandelion, when that dies, it becomes this little like white puffy ball with little wispy white things that as a breeze comes, it blows them away. We called them wishies because you'd make a wish, close your eyes, blow it, and then the white of the flower or the weed would just blow off into the wind. Well, I pictured, as I'm spinning in circles, my body is like, I'm not disappearing, I'm still there, but like around all the edges of my outside of my body are wisping away just like the dandelion did. And I was smiling and I was really happy, and it felt like all this weight had been lifted, that all of these things that I was holding on to, I was releasing, and that's why I was smiling. And I just kept thinking, that's what this means. That's what I'm feeling, that I'm releasing baggage. I'm releasing old wounds. I'm letting go of things that no longer serve me. I'm feeling lighter. I'm feeling happier. I'm feeling free. And it was just like crazy powerful. Oh my gosh. So then he brought me back to, and I explained that, and he looked like, wow, that is very powerful. And he told me what, a lot of the meaning what that could mean. And we went back into that state, I think one, maybe two more times. So when all was said and done, I just felt this overwhelming sense of peace. And to be honest with you, this whole experience happened 3-4 weeks ago, something like that. And I felt amazing, refreshed, renewed, not stressed. My skin felt really good and clean, and I can't explain it. To the point where he said, if you ever want to do another session, let me know. And I was like, yeah, and then life happens and you get busy. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, knock on wood, I've been doing so well for the last several months. I would say, let's see, we're in March, towards the end of March. So since like December, so right before the new year, given a couple like minor flare-ups where it was just a couple days maybe, I've been doing so well. But the last 10 days, I have been flared up. And not at all like I used to be. But I realized, oh my gosh, there was a couple big things that between work stuff, between relationship stuff, a lot of big curveballs that came at me and a lot of things that caused me major stress and anxiety. And, I know myself. I know that my body does not like stress. And, really whose does, right? Stress is such a silent killer, or not so silent or not so invisible, right? Because for people like us, it is quite visible, our symptoms and our struggles, right? So I realized, wow, a hypnotherapy session, I can't speak. Getting hypnotized again would have probably been, once I felt the stress and once I felt that pressure kind of coming on, probably would have been a good idea for me to do that again and see what would have happened. So I have that in my back pocket for when I need it next. It's definitely something that I highly recommend you being open to. If you have never got it done, or even if you have and you didn't notice anything good, I'm happy to share the information of my client with you. And he actually has offered I can't believe I don't want to announce this yet, but let's just say that I am trying to put together a virtual one-day event, possibly a couple-day summit type of thing for our entire community, where I'm bringing in some of these podcast guests that you have had the privilege and excitement to listen to on the show, as well as others that are going to be able to offer expertise in their areas of knowledge, know-how, and practice. And that will probably be sometime in the summer, 2023. I'm very excited, so stay tuned for that. And my client here may be one of those very special guests. But anyway, long story short, I just wanted to tell you that be open-minded to different forms of healing, things that maybe seem very out of your comfort zone, things that maybe you think sound like a quack or a crock of shit, or you're like, no way, that's not gonna. Don't ever rule anything out. This condition that we're all dealing with can just put such a damper on our attitude and really get us, feeling negative, not hopeful. Don't let that happen. Because I will share something else with you. And I'm in a smaller little Christians going through TSW group. And one of the members in that group last night was just having a really hard time. And this thought popped into my head, and I shared it with the group, and they thought, oh my gosh, Jen, that's like really profound and really deep. And the thought was this. Now, I just came back from a few days away with my little boy for his spring break, and we went to a theme park here in the States, and it was really great. It was wonderful, even though I was flaring up. And I'm laying in bed, not getting much sleep the last couple of nights, and this thought came to me, and this is the thought that I shared with that group, which I'm going to share with you now. And that thought was, thank God that I am blessed. I know you're going to hate me for saying that, but that I am blessed to be the one going through TSW and not my little boy. I just want to pause for a second and let that sink in. When I was, 2-3 in the morning, scratching away, flaking away, again, I'm doing even better today. So it only was pretty bad like that for a few days. But it was bad. It's always bad. I don't want to diminish that. But as uncomfortable as I was, as much as I was like so pissed off, and I'm like, no, I was doing so good. What's going on? What caused this? Blah, blah, blah. I'm laying there. It's pitch black. I'm in the one queen bed of this hotel room, and he's over there in his, and I'm looking at him sleeping. And anyone that's a mom, I know you can relate. You look at your kid, no matter how old they are, and you're like, my gosh, they look like such a littler version of themselves, even if they already are little, and they just look so beautiful, and it's like your little angel. And I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what if he was the one going through this? My heart would be broken in a million pieces. And by the way, if you're a parent that's listening to this episode and your little one is going through topical steroid withdrawal, please know that my heart is so heavy and so with you, and you are so loved, and we are all here to support you, because I can only imagine how incredibly painful that is. But I couldn't help but think that. I couldn't help but think, and you know what's crazy? Your child, no matter how old they are, if your child is the one going through TSW and it's not indeed you or your spouse or someone, I am a child, right? I'm a child of my mother and father's. And I thought that too, that same thing. And I bet you, even maybe not, if you have a toddler going through this, or, an adolescent, but even when they're way past this and they maybe, hopefully they don't remember too much about it, but if they do, what I'm trying to say here, I'm not making a good point here. What I'm trying to say is, I looked at my little boy and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I am the one going through this and not him. And then I thought about my mother. My parents are in their 60s, and I thought, oh my gosh, I am so happy that I am going through this and my mother is not going through this. It would break me. It would break my heart. And so I don't think I really ever thought that in that way, because it's such an isolating, terrible thing we're going through. And it just feels like it's plaguing us so much, and it is so debilitating and so terrible, excruciating, and all the things. And so sometimes we can't see past that, and that is completely understandable. But I challenge you to think of it in a different way. Not that it's a blessing, like, oh yay, I'm so lucky and privileged that I got topical steroid withdrawal. Of course, that's not what I'm saying. But look for the blessings in the darkness. Look for the lessons, okay? So even if you do decide to get hypnotized, or if you try some other healing modality, or you are journaling, or whatever it is, try to, in the misery, in the discomfort, in the chaos, try to find the things that you are grateful for. Like I am grateful that I am the one going through it and not my little boy. I am grateful that it has brought me closer to all of you in our community, right? I'm grateful that it's given me another purpose to spread awareness, to be a voice for this community. I'm grateful for, all these things. I know this is kind of like 2 episodes in one here. I was trying to make this just about the hypnotic experience I had, but it was coming in my brain right now to share that with you. And I know that it was profound for a lot of people I shared with in my little smaller group, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget to share it with you. So that's what I got. Now, I'll say this too. If you're listening to this episode sometime in the future, then this part really won't make much sense for you. But when I started the show, I was doing 2 episodes every week. Then it has been about 1 a week. And as of lately, the last couple of months, there have been a week or 2 here or there that I have skipped. I have zero intention of stopping this show. I want you to know that. So please stay with me. And this is why it's so important that you subscribe to the show. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, subscribe over there, hit the bell for those notifications. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple or Google or wherever you listen to, podcasts, make sure that you turn the notifications on and you're subscribed, because it has been a little bit not on a strict schedule. And so I want you to make sure that you get the information you need, the resources that you get, and, get to be notified of these new episodes. I have a couple great ones coming up for you. They're in the queue. They're getting edited as we speak, and some really amazing, powerful guests too. And you definitely want to subscribe so that I fill you in, and also get on that email list. Go to tswjourneytohealing.com and get on there, because I will be letting you know, first and foremost, about the 1-day virtual event that will be happening, and all those details and all the speakers and education and value that you're going to be getting. It's going to be it's my intention that you walk away from that feeling so uplifted, but also getting so much knowledge and so many new resources and things that you may want to try that you haven't thought of. And so, yeah, I think that's it for now. I will see you on the next episode, and I just thank you for being here so very much. Thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback. With your help, we can spread awareness together. So please share the show with anyone you know who may be struggling with a medical condition and using steroids to treat it. And be sure to check out the blog for helpful resources to aid you along your TSW journey at tswjourneytohealing.com.